Hello, welcome back to the Jubilee Year video series. This is the last video in our series, the month of December. And it's also the beginning of stage 4 with Advent. So we started with entrusting ourselves to Mary in stage 1, stage 2, receiving grace through surrender and self-emptying, stage 3, bearing fruit through conforming ourselves to Christ and self-sacrifice, and stage 4 is Advent, where we hope to and aim at receiving a fullness of grace. So our theme for the month of December is, "And the Word was made flesh." This is the quote from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14. And so this obviously referring to Christ. The Word was made flesh, the eternal Word, the Logos in Greek, which means word or statement or utterance. It has actually a pretty complex meaning, but word is the word that we use instead of anything else. The eternal Word is made flesh into a person, into a human, not anything else, but to a person that can have a relationship with us. And so let's read the first 16 verses of chapter 1 here from John. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came for testimony, to bear witness to the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness to the light. The true light that enlightens every man was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own home, and his own people received him not. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. We have beheld his glory as of the only begotten Son from the Father. John bore witness to him and cried, 'This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me ranks before me, for he was before me.' And from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. The only begotten Son, who was in the bosom of the Father, he has made him known." The Gospel of the Lord. So the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. The eternal Word himself was made into a person. And so this is important because we can have a relationship with the eternal Word. Through him all things were made. Through Christ, the desires of the Father came to be. So it's just kind of a thinking of a way that we could describe, their relationship. If we describe Jesus as a word, and if we think of what words are, it's an outward expression of some kind of internal idea, which is essentially what a sacrament is. Jesus is the sacrament, though. He is the fullness of the life of God in a person. And so if Jesus is the Word, we could say that the Father is more like the intention. And so the Word perfectly reflects the intention. Jesus is sinless, which means that his utterance, his actions, his life in no way contradicts the original intention of the Father, but they are one. They are both the same and in their will. They have two different distinct wills, but the Son never does anything other than what he is told from the Father, what his mission is from the Father. So the Father can be more of like the intention, or the idea, the dream, and the Son is the reality, the putting forth into nature. And so this is, again, something that we can have a relationship, something we can talk to. If we consider Jesus versus Satan, Satan is the liar, the blasphemer, someone who does not tell the truth. But Jesus is truth itself, because he shows everything that the Father is. Everything that the intention is, the words make present, they make external. But Satan does not bring the truth into existence, but instead, in his pride, creates for himself, or just rather distorts the truth, because he really can't create anything from himself. So Jesus makes the Father known perfectly. And I want to pay attention to this section from verses 6 through 8 about John, who bears testimony to the light, who bears testimony to Christ. He is not Christ, it says. He is not the light himself, but he bears witness to the light. And John is what we all are to become as Christians, is to be mirrors, to be witnesses of the truth, of the light in our lives. Witnesses of the word, that his words should become our words. That whenever I bear witness to something, whatever I'm speaking, whatever I'm doing, is showing forth the truth of something greater than me. Not myself, but it's bearing witness to somebody else. And so what it is to be a Christian is to be a kind of mouthpiece for God himself. And so Christ is the fullness of what this is to be, so much so that he is God himself. And so us, though, we're merely mirrors of that, just reflections of that in the world. We aren't God himself, but we are share in whatever it is that he desires us to share in with him. That's what grace is. So Jesus is the fullness, and we have received grace upon grace. It says that in verse 16. So as we prepare here in Advent, our goal is to receive grace, to receive as much grace as possible. And so what does that mean? We have to be constantly open to what God wants to pour into our lives, to be constantly discerning what it is that God's intention is. And so what is God's intention? Well, we know what it is because the Word has expressed it perfectly. And so if I want to know God, I'd look to Jesus, because it's obvious whenever I look to him. And so by resting in the Word, I can know the eternal intention. And resting in the Son, we can know the Father. So that's what we get to do here in Advent, is find rest in the Son as he comes to find rest within us. As he seeks a dwelling place here on earth, we can become his tabernacles. We receive his word, and we essentially just repeat the word of Christ, which is to repeat God in the world, to make him present in the world through our words and our actions. So for the month of December, I think there's just a couple things that I want to focus on, and that is, how is your prayer life going? How is your stability in your prayer life going? Do you have a commitment for prayer yet? I would encourage you to get a spot where you can go and pray every day. Is it in your room? Is it somewhere else in the house? Do you have a prayer chair? And do you use it for the same amount of time every day? And try to commit to that always, and to be in a relationship with God through prayer. And by being in a relationship with Him and listening to the Word, we can take on the words of Christ Himself and bear witness to Him in the world. So how much can you afford to pray? Can you pray 5 minutes? Can you pray 30 minutes? Can you pray an hour? Can you split it up throughout the day? So there's some things to be attentive to. And the second one, how are your relationships with other people in your daily life? Is there a way that you can bring God in to your relationships with others by bearing witness to the truth, just in your words, and allowing that inner voice to kind of come out, to allow that inner intention to kind of come out in your words and your actions, to allow God to become manifest through you. Do you need to show mercy on people? Is there somebody you need to forgive? Just kind of take an inventory of your relationships. And then one other thing I have here is, have you thought about entering into a more intentional relationship with somebody? Maybe somebody who you see in the parish is really holy. Have you? Could you ask them to talk to you? Could they meet with you? Just tell you about themselves. Just get to know them. What draws them into spiritual life, and enter a kind of spiritual relationship that's a more intentional spiritual relationship with that person. So we all need a kind of mentor in a sense. Do you need a mentor? And so the calendar for the rest of December, I think this is December 11th, a little late again, making the video, but tomorrow is Our Lady of Guadalupe. 13th is Feast of St. Lucy. This weekend will be the third Sunday of Advent, then the fourth, then Christmas, obviously a big one this month, and then St. Stephen, the first martyr, and the Apostle John, we just read from his Gospel. So on the 27th, and then on the 28th is the Feast of the Holy Family, and I'm not sure, I think there may be a closing Jubilee Year Mass at the Cathedral in Evansville. So I tried to find that, but I couldn't find it on the website. So, but I think that's true. I don't know where I saw that, but perhaps do some digging yourselves and you might find something. So I hope you have a blessed Advent and a Merry Christmas. And it's been a pleasure to be on this journey with you. God bless all of you.